Hello, Bl'Artagnan here with Advent of the Dragon King, the Garnet FR Bahamut Shinryu Fight Raid. We have a team here for the RawVoid Challenge, the community challenge put together by my co-host of the live stream, RawLife, and RawVoid, friend of the show, and host of the Echoes from the Void variety show, I guess. The kind of DFFOO show, but also, they got some other stuff going on. Check them out on Wednesdays. I'll put it in the description or something, but anyway, before we get too deep into it, be sure to hit the like button on that video, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and sit back to enjoy. Yeah, we got another community challenge here. Since Dare to Defy has not come back this month, we need a little something to spice up our gameplay experience beyond just kind of the base game. And, my buddies came through here. We have a little community challenge. Interesting rule set. Different. Familiar, but different. Because the crux of it, we get the usual, the no synergy, no friend unit kind of jazz that we're used to seeing, but the interesting bit about it is that we will be it's lockout stuff, so we won't be repeating characters, of course, but the important bit here is each team has to feature all the same crystal type weapon type and crystal color. So in this case, I'm using all green with greatsword. I've seen people use success with all black short sword, Machina and Leon and stuff like that, or folks doing red staff with Minwu. I think the green greatsword route seems to be kind of the consensus, easy mode way to do it. I mean, the Machina one is quite good too, but this is nice because my figuring here was this is the most dangerous fight of the month, I think. I haven't actually looked ahead, but I'm just judging based on how dangerous this fight is. It can kill you pretty easily. So I figured bring a pair of counter tanks and a bunch of who bring a bunch of HP damage resistance is probably the way to go here. But I think it's definitely a different sort of challenge than your Crevasse or Defy. Similar to Crevasse in some ways. It feels the same because you're stacking those weapon types and crystal colors. But in practice, it definitely feels different than regular fights because at this point, we've gotten so used to having Ultima weapons, as I have, that even though only one of my characters has it, at this point, it just feels weird to have party members who don't have them. Not that it can't be done. I mean, look, these guys have been dealing plenty of damage. The ultimate weapon I'm actually using is the greatsword on Sephiroth, which is probably suboptimal. On Cella's, it probably would have been better just because of all the off-turn damage she deals. But the thing is, here's the thing. Sephiroth's Octaslash does a lot of damage, and that makes me very happy. The pleasure centers in the brain, they just go wild when they see a giant Octaslash just go boom, and it's great. Apologies if that peaked the mic or whatever, but it's good for the soul. Big FR powered Octaslashes are good for the soul, especially in what is effectively functionally a single target fight. I mean, yes, there are two other targets, but this is one of those cases where the two other targets mostly are just there to absorb your AoE. I mean, yes, the whole self-destruct mechanic at the end, but that's not important. We all know that the real reason these guys are here is to just be goons. You want to be damaging that big center target, and Sephiroth does that wonderfully with his Octaslash, which is why I keep talking about how awesome it is. And I wanted to make use of my FE30 Sephiroth because Sephiroth is cool, right? Who doesn't think Sephiroth's cool, right? Haters, that's who. Don't be a hater. So you can see here, we have oh, that's another thing. I took off the speed passives from Celas and Galuf, but left them on for Sephiroth, reasoning that'll give him more turns in the Force time. I mean, yes, it'll give him more, faster turns in the Force time, but it also means more of the turns will be his and not, Celas or Galuf's, so that's probably more single target damage. I don't know. See my previous monologue about how great Octaslash is, but here we go. Perfect. We just pushed the threshold really close to the end of the... There we go. Look at this. Just in time to get a bunch of additional charge right before the Brother Summon. I mean, yes, getting the sooner would have been better. We're of course would have liked that, but take what we can get. Now, you might have noticed a pretty obvious anti-synergy here. You might be like, Blart, Celas' FR is ice damage, mostly from her, and absorbing magic damage, which doesn't really happen if Galuf is counter-tanking everything, and you're right. If I was smart, one thing I could have done is let her the cover drop off of her before going into the FR. However, I went with the slightly dumber route, which is, I don't know, just suboptimal, whatever. What are you going to do about it? You going to cry about it? Don't you cry about it, you baby. Get over it. Get over it. So that's what we're going to do. That's the strategy for dealing with the counter synergy between the two tanks that I brought to this fight. Is we're going to bully you until you stop complaining about it. I think that should work pretty well overall. So we are pushing the 50% threshold here. We're about halfway through, which is good. I know for a fact that if I had done things slightly more optimally, we would have crossed the 50% threshold within the summon there. So I know that as far as like pace goes, I'm not there. My setup could have gone a little bit better, probably getting to that point, but it's all right. Now, in an ideal, perfect world, we get the second force time off before the enemy gets theirs. Reason for that being, the enemy right now, they can't be broken because of their the force gauge. One of the mechanics is they get a brave floor. And that means they get more turns, and the more turns they get, the more traps they set off for Sellers, and the more traps they set off for Sellers, the bigger the FR gauge gets. You see what I'm saying? That was actually the reason that we fell off pace, is for whatever reason. I guess the break order at the start of the fight, they got like a couple fewer turns this time around than they did the last time I tried this run. The full disclosure, the reason that I had to cancel that particular recording was because my an alarm I set for myself went off midway through the video, and I had to go take out the recycling. What are you gonna do? Sometimes the alarm goes off and you have to cancel the recording of the gameplay footage. You have to just go do it again later. Neither here nor there. The important thing is, you'll see here, did not make the goal of getting our force time before their force time. Maybe I could have done something goofy involving like, cover charging and stuff, whatever. But didn't work out that way, so that's gonna kind of suck. Just a little bit. It just means they're gonna start getting broken and getting pushed back once the force time is over, which means fewer counters and whatnot, which is just less efficient. But it should still put us in a pretty good position to close out the fight well ahead of turn count. So getting ourselves ready, we're gonna go ahead and bring in that Freya call. We used Leo call for the first force time because I figured good single target damage plus is the raising the HP cap, not raising the HP cap. Sorry, that true damage based on HP cap for Galuf and Sephiroth would be good times. Here we're using Freya. I've said this multiple times, but in the off chance this happens to be the first one of my videos you're watching, I like using aura calls instead of debuff calls when I'm using a counter team, because if I'm giving the enemy a bunch of turns, I don't want them chewing through like a 4-turn debuff I dropped on them. So I use an aura call such as Freya, which gives some good stats, and that kind of makes up for it. And it works out to be about the same. So here we go. We are countering and doing trap stuff. Trap stuff's pretty cool. In an ideal world, we would have opened this force time with the Bahamut doing a big the homing rays or whatever, the AoE attacks, so Sellers would get that little bit of extra charge from absorbing. Sellers has definitely proven recently to be a really valuable FR to have. I'm trying to think of how many... We have a lot of off-turn FRs at this point, but I think she might be one of the most reliable off-turn defensive tank FRs that we have at the moment. Very self-sufficient and stuff. Nice BT, good weapon type, cool costumes. Like, really just the total package, you could argue. Here we go. Perfect timing to reapply her traps to the new Dragon Stars that have resummoned. You will notice, by the way, I totally glazed over it, but we definitely got blown up by the self-destruct and almost killed. Luckily, we have 2 tanks on the team. Had I been more on the ball, Sephiroth would have used Sephiroth used the Raijin. That was a dumb thing I did. I brought Raijin Call on Sephiroth, reasoning I would use that to prevent the enemy gravity-based FR attack from blowing us up. I probably could have just brought the Gladio Call that I was originally planning on using and just use that to add an extra layer of HP damage reduction to deal with those crystal blow-ups. But, c'est la vie, here we are. We're not dealing with that right now. Anyway, you'll see the enemy force gauge has gone away, which is a shame because now, look, as you can see now Galuf is going in front of C, so that's... Galuf is not going to be benefiting from this. You see how it all just kind of cascades one after the other. And it's going to be the reason that we only have 2 turns of force time left. The enemy is at a mere 15%. I want to take a second to read that hint. Now, I could BT with Sephiroth, but once again, I don't want to be breaking them. Actually, I guess that would have been cool to break them there. But I was like, oh, Octoslash, got Octoslash. I definitely should have used his BT, though. That would have been so cool. Whatever. I forgot how cool his BT is. That's okay, though. Here we go. Black Materia. Vroom. So we have 4%, 4% to chew through, 3% now. We're going to go ahead and do some damage here, and hopefully this will get us there. We have 3 turns of traps and counters to deal with. The only real concern here, there's only one singular concern, and that is missing the HP requirement. Since we actually dodged the second self-destruct. I don't know if you noticed that we killed both of the crystals just in time, pushing the dragon below 10%, so he actually didn't get to use self-destruct on us, which is pretty cool. It's nice because that's really the only threat we have, is getting blown up by self-destruct or missing HP requirement because of that. So, appreciate that for sure. Right, surely this round of counters will kill this guy. Okay, it didn't. Maybe this one? Well, no, okay. Well, the splash damage is going to get him. Surely this last one will do it, right? Nothing. Alright, fine. Sephiroth, bring us home. Christ, you're kidding me! Kill him! What is it gonna take to kill this stupid dragon? God, not even... Jeez, okay, there we go. Finally, lordy. Well, that is the first of my RawVoid challenge teams. We will not be seeing this team again this month, unless I get a really stupid fight. I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Give the challenge a shot. I'll post a community post about it. And see you in the next video. Adios.